All right, we're live here, Fatboy FadeAway Sports, episode 222. Ryan, the main man, Johnson, my Mel Kiper for today will be on is with me as always. And we look forward to talking the draft with him. Jimmy Pallotto, I was on their show this week. You know Jimmy from Talking the Gridiron, far end of the bench. He joins us this morning to go over some of the NFL draft stuff. We wanted to get into some WrestleMania stuff because I got Casey Breyer, my brother as well, down there. I got two guys down here that can talk wrestling. And so Jimmy will be the perfect one to get some storylines that we'll be talking about as well with it. So looking forward to this show out there. Jimmy, I was joining you guys on Tuesday. We talked a little about the NBA playoffs. My Warriors did get a big win last night without Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Nico's Nuggets. Abby, is there a closer finish to win a game than that?
Yeah, I mean,
that was probably as close as it gets to win a game for the Nuggets.
Is that the greatest miss in Nuggets history? It might be the greatest miss in Nuggets history.
What an alley!
Oh, I thought that was a pass.
What an alley!
No, he's. Did you see his press conference? What was your thought when you put up the shot? This is not good. This is not good.
Not good. Not good.
This is not going well. This is not. That's not where I shot ball. No.
And the shot he made before that, right before that, was unreal. About 60, and the little fadeaway before that. So big with it.
Everything he does is unreal.
It pretty much is. And so I did a post game last night, so I encourage you guys to check that out on my reaction to that. But Case, just wanted to get your thoughts real quick on just the Warriors game, just real quick before we kind of move on to some other stuff today. But what was your thoughts of the Dubs getting a big win there?
Just total team effort, really. Took almost everyone. Quentin Post with the dirty work on the boards.
Quentin, shout out.
Buddy Hield coming out clutch with one of his better shooting games this year. Really needed that. 17 points. Pods, some just buckets that we needed, timely buckets. I like Kuminga's energy on defense on Jalen Green. Not much to show for offense, but hey, as long as he gets involved, man, starts making some strides. But it always comes down to the main man, right? Steph, man, he's just unbelievable.
He was awesome last night. He was awesome. Took some and he had to be awesome. They didn't have anybody in there. It's like he was the star of the show, right? Like he had to show up, or the first quarter was pathetic. So man, that was, and then they get
conditioning is just unreal, man. That guy's.
I have one of my winner of the weeks is on conditioning. This we'll see. I look forward to that one. So when I have that with it, So the Warriors play the Rockets on Monday. Jimmy, I noticed your Avalanche are kind of on the same schedule as our Warriors, Warriors Rockets the whole time. Before I get to the NHL, because I do want to get your quick thoughts on that, because me, Brian, and Casey probably combined know about 4 players, 5 of them if they're not playing there. So I do have some quick thoughts on that with it. But what was your biggest takeaway from the NFL draft?
Some surprises, like not the shocking surprises that you're used to, but more like clearly there's some stories that did not get leaked to the public yet that I'm interested. Going to go through the dirt sheets. Like there's going to be a specific reason. There's going to be a specific citing as to why Shedeur Sanders dropped as far as he did. Tyler Warren, I think, dropped a little bit further than I expected him to. So, players like that where you thought people were coveting them a little bit more, that it just didn't seem to be the feeling that we had. So I feel like drafts are always crapshoots. This one seemed like even more so. I couldn't have predicted much of what happened, like Jacksonville trading up to 2 and Cleveland doing what they did, getting Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart going in the first round. I didn't expect him to be a first round quarterback. I thought he was going to be a day 2 guy, but good on everybody this weekend that made their dreams come true. We'll see what happens. I hate draft grades right after. I don't know how you guys feel. Draft grades right after make no sense. You should do it 2 years. 2 years, it should be the prior window, and then we should be able to figure out what these guys do.
Go Dubs, R&J podcast. Appreciate you tuning in here. You got Jimmy Pallotto with it. No, I agree. There's there's always funny ones, like the guy I was reading one the other day from the Seahawks, and they took Bruce Irvin, Russell Wilson, and somebody else, and they're like, F grade. This is pathetic. And obviously that turned out to be just fine for him on that. Yeah. Brian, my Mel Kiper Jr., big takeaway here from it. My Raiders, they get their running back. That's a good – I think I came around. They got the blue chip guy. I'm feeling good about that pick. But the Sanders thing to me was the biggest story. That was crazy. 5th round. I mean, I thought for sure he'd be a first round pick at the end of the college season.
I thought it was intriguing how a report came out about him the day of the draft, saying that assistant coach said don't draft him because he doesn't care and he'll blame other teammates, and it's just I wonder who that assistant coach was, because it seemed to, as soon as that report came out, the Sanders slide started.
I don't know, Case. That was more than a slide. That was like a free fall. Oh, that was a drop zone right there.
Laramie Tunsil fell less, and he had a picture of a gravity bong exposed the day of the draft.
That's right. Yeah, he still. That was.
I think he was still a first rounder. He just dropped from like top 5 to top 15. There's definitely something like.
I mean, Jimmy, you're there in Colorado. Do you hear anything more than that? Like, were you kind of expecting? I mean, I'm not saying you have inside information, but like sometimes you're closer to it. You hear reporters or like, during the season stuff, like, did you see this as a possibility?
Not to burn any bridges, but what you hear from that area is the nicest and most humble of the Sanders boys does not have his last name. That would be Travis Hunter. That is the one that deserves to be looked up to as a role model. Like Shiloh and Shador do decent things, but they're rich kids. They've grown up with a silver spoon in their mouth, and it shows. It does show quite a bit through just their personality on the field, through the advertisements. Maybe it's a character that they're trying to play, but that character backfired. I think that this was just case of, you did turn around the culture of a program, but the team still didn't win anything. You didn't win a conference championship. You never won a bowl game. You own 100 records of a school that used to run the triple option. So congratulations for all the passing records. They all started in 1990 when Joel Klatt was a quarterback. And just Shiloh having his incidents from the past, Shador now with the combine interviews where he doesn't come interested, like decides whether or not he's going to give you the time of day based on where he thinks he's going to go. Well, turns out he should have been a lot more prepared for those interviews. Everybody had lots of chances, and everybody was like, yeah, F that. I am not touching that dude with a 10-foot pole. And at the most important position at quarterback, you got to have somebody guys like. Maybe people don't like him. Maybe that's the reason why he was getting sacked. Maybe the offensive line didn't suck so bad. Maybe it was the longest yard situation. They were like, I can't stand this dude. I'm going to let this defensive end through.
I wonder what Sanders was thinking, Casey. Like the guy, I know Tyler liked him. Tyler, you're with me. I know, like I thought, he was favored there. But all those mock drafts are funny to me, and I had a feeling he was going to be one of the guys that were going to fall. But again, I did not expect 5-round falls. I was like, I did not think the Raiders on December 17th would pass on a guy like Sanders like 6 times in the draft, if they didn't have a chance to get him. That slide alone from Sanders is definitely the biggest storyline of it. But I did also think the other Colorado guy, Hunter, going number 2, was a big story as well with it. But that when Gabriel from Oregon got picked over Sanders, I was like, I don't know. Like Tyler,
what is Cleveland doing? Is this Pokemon? You got to collect them all?
Cleveland, Brian, the quarterbacks go to die there. Casey, they go there to die, right? I mean, I don't know. The Gabriel pick threw me off. Huge.
By the way, before we move off of Shador, I just put it into AI. That was a $40 million slide.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to, yeah.
He's rich anyways, Jimmy. He's rich.
Daddy's rich. What are you talking about?
Tiki Barber kind of made a good point when he was on a podcast.
I saw that. Yeah. What did he say, Brian?
He just said that the NIL is ruining the draft because he says kids come into the draft rich, so they really don't have anything to prove.
Not as hungry. That's what he did say. Not as hungry with him, which is my part of it. Yeah, exactly. What did you think, Case?
I mean, it's unfortunate, really. I mean, I think it's his own doing and his own dad. You hate to see it, but you see all these clips that they've shown and compiled. It's like, hey, we're going to choose which team my son goes to. We know which organizations are basically not good. I won't allow my son to do this. And they're trying to compare it to Eli and this. I'm like, Eli, I'm sorry. Eli was like the number 1 overall, like, consensus pick of the draft. There was no like, this guy might be. It was like, no, this is Eli. With Shador, it was like there's a lot of questions. His arm strength, his mobility, his athleticism, his maturity. I mean, so there's a lot of things. It wasn't just one thing there. So unfortunate fall, but I think the Browns. I even saw the interview with I think it was Andrew Berry, the GM, and Stefanski, and it was kind of like a valid question. I thought the reporter asked was, "Hey, you guys didn't seem that enthused about it." He's like, "Oh, we were tired," but for the other ones, they seem pretty enthusiastic about it. So, I mean, you can't read too much into it, obviously, but it was kind of like, yeah, we got a quarterback, but now we have 4 of them, and all of them suck. So, I mean, I don't know where I got 5 technically, I guess.
Oh man.
Obviously, with Deshaun with the Achilles, he ain't gonna play
Yeah.
this year, but I mean. Good luck with that, man. Cleveland, shoot, man.
Taking Gabriel Sanders. Who do they have? They have Flacco. They have Watson, and who's the other? They got somebody else on there too, right? They got 5 guys that they're going to be running out, Brian, next year. Were you happy with the Niners draft, Brian?
Yeah, I thought they filled a lot of holes on defense. I like those guys that they got. There's a safety out of Kansas State who I think is going to be a good player, and that happened to come at a good time because I guess they found out Mustafa got hurt, and he's going to be out half the season. So that's why they took a safety.
You got Williams out of Georgia was your guys' first pick. You guys took an edge too, Brian or Jimmy. You took Stewart from Texas Tech. A lot of edge rushers this year, guys, in the draft. Or Texas A&M, sorry. Yeah, a lot of edge rushers went this year. And so you guys you got Stewart, Brian. You get Williams out of Georgia. I think the best one, that Carter guy, is going to be a stud for the Giants. I just think I know he's a top 3 pick, so he should be. But he seems he's going to be like elite. But sometimes you get these guys that fall late. How did you feel about Stewart to your Bengals, Jimmy? As I like your shirt there, as always, as you know. Just say
this
no.
This is the most viral shirt that we ever put out on our channel. Because everybody hates the Steelers, whether you're a Bengals fan or not.
Yes, they do.
And I guess that's the biggest question mark is who's going to play quarterback for the Steelers next year.
That will be a big part too with it for sure. But Jimmy, what'd you think there at the Bengals? And we'll get to that part, Brian.
It gives the way that they drafted gives them some flexibility in a place that they decided they weren't going to invest. Like they invested in wide receiver, which meant they're not going to bring back Trey Hendrickson more than likely. He's seeking a trade right now. And while he's not going to be Trey Hendrickson in the first year, the clips that you see, the film that you're able to watch of Shamar Stewart and the Texas A&M D-line was really good this past season. That was what kept him in a lot of the games. That's what led Mike Elko to thinking and smelling his oats a little bit, like 4 weeks before the SEC championship, saying that they were going to beat Texas and qualify for that title game. I think that there's talent there. You're going to have to coach him. He's going to have to become a more consistent rusher at the NFL level, but we needed it. We needed to get younger at that position and start investing a little bit less money, because when you invest as heavily on the offensive side of the ball as we did, it made more sense. I was a little bit upset because, Tyler Warren was there and he was falling. I'm like, it would be something for the Bengals to get like the most talented offensive player in the draft again.
The tight end, right?
Yeah, the tight end from Penn State. And then he goes 3 picks before to the Indianapolis. And I didn't know who they were really targeting after that, but it makes sense. Like they wanted to get cheaper and younger on defense. And whatever they did on defense last year, you got to do the total opposite. And they already did. They got rid of Anarumo, who I think is still a really good defensive coordinator. I don't put a lot of the struggles that they had on him last season. They just had like no talent. They were still trying to put all this money aside. We all know Mike Brown was fishing through couch cushions, trying to find nickels and extra $5 coupons for dinner. He's like, I just need to make this make more sense. And he made it make more sense. You got I think they went defense. I think they went defense in 4 of the 5 rounds that they drafted in. So they're definitely trying to show like we're invested on the offensive side. Now we need to make sure that the talent and the money comes through on the defensive side a little bit down the line.
So, and then Brian brought up the team in your division. Well, Brian, what do you mean? The Steelers took a quarterback. They have Howard now. They got Will Howard, the champion of Ohio State. So they're set now, buddy.
I saw his combine. It's not going to be pretty in the NFL.
So you're not going to be there. So the AFC North will be a battle like it's always been the last few years. And the Bengals,
the Ravens, I think, had the best draft because they got that safety that's going to pair with Kyle Hamilton, and their defense is not going to give up anything.
I hate the Ravens and the Steelers so much in drafts. It's like we pick 27 or 22, and we always end up with like the best play. I'm like, how the hell? like I again, I have a winner of the week that might be around one of these teams, so that's part of it as well. Tyler, real quick, I wanted to shout you had the Sanders. It would have been that first pick, like I said. Tyler's got baseball this morning, so we'll get him back on one of the. I know when baseball's over, he'll be
December 17th was before they got shellacked by Kansas, right?
Yeah, I think it was. So, yeah, it would have been right there, and then right.
I think it was right around that same time because it was basically after that game that I think everybody was like, maybe it's a little bit inflated.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of like that thing that they're talking about. I thought it was pretty good analogy. It's like, with the whole Manziel and Mike Evans might be similar with, Shador and, Travis Hunter. You just have an all rolled, athlete, wide receiver and make up for a lot of, compensation. So
fastest guys on the field every time that they stepped out on the field. Those receivers were sick for the last 2 years at CU.
I mean, Mike Evans got 10 straight 1,000 yards.
Going into year 15 and guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, crazy.
Brian Johnson, the man that once bought a Tim Couch jersey. I want to finish up the NFL draft with this. The Browns.
You also had a Rex Grossman beard.
Oh, you did. Don't rub it in.
Oh, beard. Okay, I thought you were about to say jersey. You put a sexy Rexy jersey on.
It changed Brian's life with the. No, we got. So, are the Browns the dumbest franchise? Are they the dumbest franchise in the NFL? Is it not even close? I know the Raiders are high up on that list. I know Jimmy's Bengals.
Yeah, but are you happy that they finally got their running back, Darren?
The Raiders, I am happy that we got a running back. We needed a running back at that position. We have Pete Carroll, right? He'll have a plan, right, to run the ball and stuff like that. So we did need a running back. We got our great tight end last year in the draft. We do have Gito throwing the ball still, which is it's not the worst. It's better than what we had.
I think it's going to be 10 times better than what you saw last year with AOC or Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, no, that's true. We'll see what happens.
To be honest with you,
Minshew is awful. Yeah, Minshew is awful.
I'm thinking about it now. Like the last running back that Carroll drafted in Seattle was Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker not had a bad start to his career, and I think Ashton Genty's way more talented than Kenneth Walker III. So that is. It's worrisome. And they still have Max Crosby. Like you said it. You guys were right there until that 102-yard pick six in Denver. I feel like that tanked the entire rest of the season. If that doesn't happen, who knows? Like wild cards right on the table. I don't think you guys were that talented where you should have been you didn't lack that much talent where you should have been drafted in top 5. It just, I think the mental side of things got to you and things snowball in the NFL pretty quickly.
I mean, Jimmy, when I saw the first game and Minshew threw it, I think it was 5 yards backwards and about 15 yards left, and they scooped and pretty much scored. I go, this is going to be a long freaking year.
This is the guy that won the quarterback battle, huh?
It's not good when you're clamoring for Aiden O'Connell in week 2. It's not good stuff.
Oh, my God. What was Brian, what did you have a highlight from the draft? Do you watch it on the NFL Network or ESPN, or how do you?
I did it on ESPN this year because I ended up getting Sling TV, and I guess they don't have NFL Network with Sling TV. So,
Todd. So you're watching Mel out there. Is Mel losing his game? I heard there were some rumors that he's been off his game this year.
I don't know why, but man, he loves Sanders in this draft, and he wanted to push him maximum Sanders.
Well, he had a comment where he's like, the NFL has been pathetic at drafting quarterbacks for the last 50 years, and I'm like, well. I mean, it is the hardest position to draft, right? Like
this is the same guy who said you need to draft Jimmy Clausen or lose your job as a GM.
Yeah, Jimmy Clausen.
Go eat some more pumpkin pie, Mel, and do your hair again because yes, you're entertaining to watch and you do a lot of the film study, and I appreciate the film study that you do. Don't sit there and say that you know how to evaluate talent better than anybody else in the NFL.
And the hair is starting to fade. That's starting to be that's a real fading right now, Johnson. That's not going to make it very much longer. So, Johnson, your favorite time of the year, the NFL draft did happen. That was a good one. I know you're Niners. That guy, you guys got drafted a linebacker in the 3rd round. And I'm like, yep, that guy's going to be an All-Pro probably in 2 years. I'm like, that's the confidence I have in the Niners when they draft linebackers.
I feel like we kind of did what Jimmy's team did. Like 4 out of the first 5 picks were defense, and then
Yeah.
I really like that receiver we took out of Ole Miss. He's good.
Yeah,
He's really fast.
Raiders took a receiver out of Tennessee there as well. That was their pick. They took a cornerback.
TCU talking about the wide receiver.
Yeah, well, and they also took one later out of Tennessee too, so they got him too. So draft time, it is what it is. Like Jimmy kind of said at the beginning, though, the grades are kind of funny when you get them out at the beginning because really nobody knows. So it is what it is with it. Like Neighbors was an absolute stud. Not everybody had him as that last year. So NFL draft in the books.
And Warren Moon is going to let Cam Ward wear number 1. So
Warren, not Lawrence Taylor, I saw would not let Carter wear 56. So he said, no, you're not allowed to wear that. You got to create your own legacy. I don't have a problem with it. I
don't know if numbers should be retired in general, but
yeah, maybe in football it's kind of a little harder. It seems like because it isn't like a position. It's a little bit different sport where you're rotating guys out a little bit more. So, yeah, that's fair, Jimmy. Do we have him retired? But Warren Moon does let him wear it, so Ward will have number 1. Before I get to WrestleMania, real quick, and I wanted to kind of talk about that with you guys for a few minutes because I know these guys down here love it, and I know Johnson kind of loves to talk about it. So I was like, oh, perfect with Pallotto on too. That you'll be great. But I just real quick, and maybe a couple minutes or less, give us a little NHL update in the sense of who's winning the Stanley Cup? Who should the three of us, who should fans out here be focused on a little bit? Is it your Avalanche?
Right now, the Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche are playing the best hockey of most of the other teams. Carolina looks really good out of the Eastern Conference. They have a pretty easy matchup. That's the tough thing. There's 4 series. It's very similar to basketball, but the way that they play their games where it's every other day instead of having all the rest, like it's 4 series. So this is the toughest matchup, closest matchup that we have out of the first round in Dallas and Colorado. You should see one of these two teams go on and represent the Western Conference in the Cup final. But after kicking the shit out of each other for as many games as it's going to take, it's at least going 6 now after the game series got tied at 2-2 last night. You never know because Minnesota has been dominating Vegas. They lost in overtime last night. The teams have looked really good, looked really bad. I will say the Colorado Avalanche, trying to put all of my bias aside and ignore the hat that I'm wearing right now and ignore the fact that I'm from Colorado. That was the most complete 60 minutes of hockey anybody's played in the playoffs last night. They beat Dallas 4-0, 90 shots towards the net, not on goal. I think they ended with like 50 shots on actual goal where there was some sort of scoring chance, but they were showing analytics. They were sending the puck down the ice towards the Dallas goaltender 90 times last game. They've led for 120 minutes of the entire series. So if you're looking for a team that's been most dominant for the most amount of time in the playoffs so far, it's Colorado. They have Nathan McKinnon. They have Cale Makar, 2 of the best players in their respective positions in the world. Blackwood has been lights out in goaltender. And we have Gabriel Landeskog back, who, after not playing for 1,032 days, gets elevated to the second line and gets a goal in his second game back. This is a
1,032 days.
1,032 days. First player to ever come back from the surgery that they did. He has the same surgery as Lonzo. He's come back and not just participating on the court. He is playing meaningful minutes. He is the top 5 best player on the ice when he's out there. And we have this guy. Nobody knows him except for the people from Colorado because he used to play at DU too. I don't know if you guys know, but DU is the most storied college hockey program of all time. We have 10 national championships. And we were almost going for 11 this year. Logan O'Connor won a national title with Denver University, won a Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche. He started off scoring last night with a shorthanded goal, which is like his 4th in his career in the playoffs, which doesn't happen. Like you don't get shorthanded opportunities, let alone 4 of them 4 years in a row. And that guy just like there is a lot to like about this Colorado Avalanche team. There's a reason why they are Cup favorites, and there's a reason why a lot of the money that's in Vegas is on them to win the Stanley Cup. And that is speaking as unbiased as possible. Like that, they're a dominant marker of a team.
The last time the Sharks were in the playoffs, I know we lost to you guys.
No, you guys beat us.
Or we beat you guys in the last time we were in the playoffs.
You guys beat us because of your stupid ass rink. They said our skate was over the line when we were getting off of the bench, very clearly getting off the bench, and they called too many men on the ice.
Who's the stud that's on your team though? Like what's his name again?
Which one? McKinnon?
Well, yeah, McKinnon's the first one I think of. Yeah. He's the first one
the
I think
Nate
of.
Dogg, the absolute psycho. They do so. It came out earlier on. I think it might have been last season, but now everybody does it. After games, they play in hockey. I think the on the high end, you play like 30 minutes of the game with as short of the shifts as you do. After playing for 30 minutes in an NHL game, he does another hour on the bike afterwards, just to make sure that his cardio is there. And now that's everybody. Everybody in the Colorado Avalanche locker room goes directly to the weight room after the game is over, gets their spin in, and makes sure that they're ready to go. Like this is, I think that it's one of the best.
Well, he's a stud. I mean, he's the one guy that always jumps out to me whenever I see the Avalanche play the most. Brian, name as many Avalanche as you can. Go. All time. Come on, Brian. Come on.
Patrick Waugh.
There you go.
Give me another one.
My brother was wearing a Waugh jersey last night.
Come on, Johnson. Give me another one. I know you know one. Think of those old teams. You got one. How about Joe? Come on.
Joe Sakic.
That boy.
Peter Forsberg.
Yeah.
Milan Hajduk. Raymond Boyd.
The NHL games that we used to play that we turned off offsides because we didn't know what the lines meant. It was just
Adam.
Hey, but who knew that we were changing the rules to make it more efficient?
Remember when Fox had the highlighted puck?
Yes, the highlighted puck.
Remember when it was on the Home Living Network?
They had some issues. I always loved that when the puck would turn red because it got over 100 miles per hour. And then the Blues had that defenseman that was always was Al McGinnis. That was Al. So he was the guy. I always wanted him to shoot it because of the red puck, even though it was coming out.
Nobody else on the ice wanted him to shoot it.
I always kind of look for like Jimmy. It's kind of always been a random thing with me with hockey. Is like, all right, where are the Canadian teams? Like, not going to necessarily want them to win, but they haven't won in a long time. So I'm always looking. And this year, both Winnipeg and Toronto, both the top seeds.
Winnipeg, Toronto, Edmonton, and Montreal are all in the playoffs this year. So, well, actually, Montreal. Yeah, Montreal did get eliminated, I believe.
Kaminsky is my favorite video game hockey player. Yeah.
You guys ever play NHL Hits? Speaking of hockey video games,
is that like a Blitz version or something?
It was the Blitz version. It was 3-on-3. It was guys with giant bobbleheads, and you got to absolutely lay people the fuck out. It was amazing.
And speaking of that, Jimmy, I'm a little disappointed to hear that we might have less fighting in the NHL. Is this a rumor, a nasty rumor? Or is NHL becoming a little bit, you know what I mean? There has to be part of it in the game for me, for at least, I don't know.
It's not going away. It's just a little bit more like smart than it used to be. You used to just drop the gloves and fight every night because people were on the teams because that's all they could do. They couldn't skate. They couldn't stick handle. They couldn't shoot the puck, and they could barely block a shot. So they were there to skate and try and fight somebody. Now the fights are meaningful. Like, I think get back to that Four Nations face-off game, the All-Star game that they had where USA and Canada squared off 3 times within the first 15 seconds. That was strategic. They were in a hostile environment. The Kachucks wanted to make a statement. They had Millsy on the line too, JT Miller able to fight. So instead of just doing it to do it, they're doing it to send a message now. We're seeing a lot of scrums still. We're still seeing
that's what I want.
Chippy play. Like, people are still trying to fly around and take each other's heads off. But it's not everybody has a fighter now. Pretty much everybody has like a power forward, or if somebody were to fight on the Avalanche, Gabriel Landeskog, who's not necessarily a bruiser, like you don't think of him and think Marty McSorley or anybody like that, but he's just willing to go and he's willing to fight for his team. You're not fighting for yourself anymore. You're fighting to protect the guys on your team.
Well, I played a couple weeks ago that fight between the Avalanche and the Red Wings from '97. It was, so I want to keep that up. I want the goalies going at it.
That one was also exacerbated by the illegal checking and just the pure. I've never had that much pure hatred for another organization.
The team after that. That's funny. I want that violence, Casey. We need.
I'm surprised you haven't brought up the Panthers once.
No, I mean they've been out there, and I think they lost their first game of the series recently, didn't they? I think they were dominating pretty much.
But I mean, Barkov was out too though because he got knocked by that cheap shot. So I mean
that one is getting interesting. It's getting chippy too. The coaches are going back and forth at each other. Like Maurice had that quote after Barkov's cheap shot where he got taken out. We only hit players with the puck, and then the game ended with Tkachuk absolutely leveling some guy on, I think it was point, who didn't have the puck at the end of the last game. Like those two teams, if we want to talk about pure championship pedigree, Tampa and Florida have the most championship pedigree in that series right now. I think it's like 6 of the last 7, or maybe 8 of the last 8 Stanley Cup finals have had a team from Florida represented. Tampa was that good for that long, and now Florida's not bad. That's the thing. It's hard to talk about Colorado and anybody in the West because we're all in such a dogfight in our playoff bracket, and the Eastern Conference is a little bit more of an easy walk.
For sure.
How's Tampa and Florida? The two teams that are. I mean, I know Tampa has history with it, but always kind of irrelevant with it.
No state tax. Canadians love to retire to Florida.
That's where they happen. They go there with it. All right, boys. NHL there with it. Playoffs. Jimmy, appreciate you kind of getting a little giving us a little information on it. I was rewatching a little bit of your Avs Stars game last night. And they were killing it tonight. The Blues game I'm a little interested in this morning. That goes at 10, so I'll check that one out just because the guys obviously at VSN. I know that we're rooting hard for that one, so I'll be checking out that game a little bit for them as well. So yeah, so Hockey Plus. I know Ryan, big follower of us. Tyler's brother, he's a big fan too. And then LA and Edmonton tonight as well. So it'll be a good game too on the West Coast. So
I think Edmonton's backs up against the wall. They might be facing elimination either this game or next game.
It's a 2-1. They're down 2-1 right now. 2-1. So yeah,
it's been the same matchup for the last. I think this is the 5th year in a row, and Edmonton's won the last 4. And Los Angeles finally looks like they're ready to break through. We'll see if they can continue
beat LA. We're all right with beating LA on that. Speaking of a little fighting, WrestleMania in the books last Sunday. The champ has been changed. It is You Cannot See Me, John Cena. Brian Johnson. What'd you think? Cena now. Are you happy with it or not? The GOAT. What do you think, Brian?
I actually like the way they're taking the storyline where they're having Randy Orton be kind of the face and Cena's the heel when he was like a 6-year-old just flipped me off on SmackDown.
Did you like the fact that did you like the match overall with Cody Rhodes and Cena?
Yeah, I liked that the rap star came out and kind of interrupted it.
You liked the little storyline that happened with it. Case, what did you think? Were you fans of
good, man. Overall, man, yeah, for sure, man. Definitely, if I was a betting man, I should have done some picks on WrestleMania because I nailed it. But yeah, it was fun, man. I enjoyed it. It was kind of cool, actually. During that Easter, I had I kind of flipped it on. We had the family actually watching, my mom, dad, who are not into it, and it's just funny watching it with people that are not like. They have it's almost like a disdain for wrestling. It's like, I can't believe you still watch this. And then once they start watching it, they're like, start judging and critiquing it. And I'm like, so you do kind of no, I'm not saying I like it. You know, it's funny to me just watching it with a standby fan. But I like WrestleMania, the way they did it. I think Cody Rhodes, he had his time, he had his run. It was kind of fading out. I think it was getting a little redundant, being the good guy. John Cena with the heel turn, 17-time champ, passing Ric Flair. I think that's a good thing, to get that. Ric Flair was, OG status, but just to get the John Cena, he's deserved it. He's put in the work. He's been not a part-timer. He's done it full throttle. Now he's just fading out, and I think they got a nice little run till he retires where they can really play this bloodline and Cody Rhodes, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes, but I like where it's going right now, especially with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker coming together with Paul Heyman. So,
what's Xavier say about Paul Heyman? How's he?
My name is Paul.
You mentioned the storyline with it. I know that was funny. He gets a kick out of Paul Heyman. My son's really into it. Jimmy, what did you think of the Cena thing? Were you a fan of that?
It's very cool because it's one of those stories we could have known pretty much what was going to happen with his run, and now there is a little bit of intrigue because what he's been saying, he's going to stop the professional wrestling timeline, used to be thought of as sacrilege because they used to not talk about it that way. There is a possibility. I don't know. They let Punk take home the title from Money in the Bank and didn't have a contract in place at that point. And maybe they were very confident they were going to let it get it done. I don't know if they're going to let him retire with that belt and make a new championship the way that he's been talking about it. It might be, maybe that is a solution, because I feel like they've been trying to figure out ways to make the World Heavyweight Championship more meaningful, because it's just not. It's the second title, and the WWE Championship has so much prestige and gravitas to it. But it is a new generation. Things change all the time. People want to fight over new championships. So there's like that question. I truly don't know. There is, in the back of my mind, maybe Triple H is going to let John Cena take home that title belt and be the last WWE champion before he retires. Or maybe Randy Orton just proves that he can do absolutely no wrong. Because if we want to talk about a guy that's just pure talent in WWE, whether it's good guy, bad guy, because he's such a douche. He's still such a douche as a good guy, and people love him. And here's my question with Randy Orton. How do you grow 2 inches and gain 70 pounds of muscle when you turn 50? Is that what I have to look forward to? Like, is there another growth spurt coming down the line that I didn't realize? I didn't talk about that in my human development classes.
If you're willing to put needles in you, then yes, you are going to gain. You might gain that point, right? If you're willing to get needles in it. I kind of like the idea, Brian, of the Viper making a little comeback. The Viper with it, and then I saw they suspended Gunther because he attacked Pat McAfee. I thought that was like that was kind of lame.
That was the greatest. That was the most WWE situation of all time. Did you see him talk about it on his show? There's 15 security personnel, and they're all trying to hold back the NFL players, which I get it, because those guys are going to get in there and do work. But I'm just standing there, and nobody's over there with me, and Gunther's got my neck all wrapped up in a choke. Like, maybe one of the security personnel could have turned around and came after me.
And then, so he gets attacked. And I liked a lot of the comments were like, well, I guess WWE wants to give him a vacation. Gunther, that was the main reason for that suspension with it. What is the storyline like? There's always like trying to guess the storyline, I feel like, in wrestling. And they obviously have Uso now as the heavyweight champion, right? He's the big. Is he? I don't know. Like is now him and Cody Rhodes. Is there a bloodline thing that's happening? You have Casey. You mentioned Seth Rollins. Do you guys have any guesses on where that might end up? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out where this goes with Cena as the veterans with the Viper as well. So I don't know. That to me, there's some intrigue.
I think Sami Zayn might turn and maybe go, "It should have been me, Jay, not you," or something.
He was so lovely to him the other day, Brian. He was so nice to him. Was it too nice? Too nice.
El Jericho comes back and starts fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, that would be something to see there. I think Jacob Fatu is going to be somewhere in that mix. I think he's such a high rising star right now. The crowd goes freaking crazy for him every time he comes. Solo Sikoa is kind of faded out. He had his kind of cool little like piggyback ride with Roman Reigns being part of the Cousins and Bloodline, but Fatu really has exploded as probably the priority A star, I would say, wrestler out of those guys right now. Just high flying, entertaining. It would be interesting to see if he joins that with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins and makes like a huge faction. That'd be kind of interesting to me. And then Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and they start their own kind of like evolution with Randy Orton, Ric Flair, Batista and Triple H. If they load up something like that.
Batista, I haven't heard that name in a while. I was thinking, do you think there's a world where Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns ever got back together for like a year? No,
not for another 10 years.
Yeah,
no.
The chair in the back did it all.
Because they attacked him on Monday Night Raw, so that's not happening.
And he got his wise man to punch him in the dick.
No, I am Paul Heyman. And then Paul was great on the Pat McAfee show. I don't know if you guys saw some of the stuff on that.
Was that great? Was that great or was that unprofessional?
I would say a combination of both. I would say a combination of both.
Probably like, yo, shut this shit down.
He's
Stop talking.
He's ripping on Shannon Sharp.
Sharp was like, turning this.
It seems like Cole is such a, he takes the abuse because he's gone like F5 through a table, after WrestleMania. So I mean, this is nothing new from him.
Well, you got to
Michael
remember,
Cole.
this is the dude that started ECW, man. He was going off the rails way long ago. I mean, him and Vince McMahon used to get in fights all the time, man. So, I mean, that's just who he is. He's just a shit disturber.
Michael Cole, he's the announcer, right? The guy there with it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that that guy.
Like he's worked his way up to a very high level executive from that desk. Actually, he used to be one of those backstage correspondents that would interview. He has a couple of interviews with The Rock during the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I do remember that now that you're saying that when he
Wu-Tang
who's the guy? Remind me the name with the long hair. He's with Liv Morgan apparently in the
Dirty
show.
Dominic Mysterio.
So he ends
Eddie
so he ends up winning that title. I'm just curious. Do you guys think there's any world where he makes a little run, not to the championship, but like they keep building him up a little bit because the crowd does seem to react to him, right? And like so, those are the guys that kind of keep getting pushed. He is a scrawny little guy, but is there a world where he makes a push here the next year or two? Do you guys see that at all, or is that way off?
That dude he's going to keep that title for a little bit longer because right now he's the first true he's the first true turn. Like WWE didn't have to set that up at all. He didn't have to set up the crowd loving him. They just love what he does. Like he's just him. He's just what Eddie Guerrero used to be. I lie, I cheat, I steal. I snuck my way into this fatal 4-way match. Let everybody kick the crap out of each other. Penta hit a Penta driver. Finn Balor hit a coup de grace. I snuck in with a 5-star frog splash, and look at that. I walked out champ. I turned on my Hall of Fame dad. I've denounced his name, and I've now sided with the guy who tried to win my rights in a ladder match 15 years ago. Like that guy, he's now the lie, cheat, and stealer. And he's done what nobody else in the WWE besides I think maybe John Cena and maybe Randy Orton can do, where you got the crowd to turn and love you when you're a bad guy. You're a piece of shit.
That's crazy to think like how the run that he's on. I gotta think. Good, right?
That would make sense if they had him versus Jey Uso or something, and Dominic's the heel, and then Jey Uso's the face. So that would make sense if they did that.
That would be a blockbuster.
Do you think they take the IC title off him that fast though? I feel like they can keep letting them wrestle the other luchadors. I feel like they have so many luchadors now, and those luchadors can wrestle. And that's what the IC title is about. You want to have good matches. Yeah. I think that Dom can have matches with Penta and Rey Fenix and even El Grande Americano if he wants to. Like all of the luchadors that are there currently, he can wrestle all of them and have great feuds with all of them. And then maybe it is Braun. I don't know who's going to be the next person to take his title. I just feel like they're going to keep it on him for a little bit. They want to prove, like maybe build up a little bit more of the idea that Dom can wrestle, and it's not just all lying and cheating that allows him to win.
Who were the two big guys for a while that were like breaking cars for like every weekend that they were fighting? This has been a couple of months. Who are the two big guys that was
Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest?
Yeah, those two guys. I'm thinking the other two. They're more like they're not champ.
Roman?
Yeah, who is it?
Braun Strowman?
The guy that Paul Heyman said sucks. That's why he
Bronson Reed, right?
Yeah, Bronson Reed. Those two guys. Remember they were like fighting in parking lots for a while and like killing each other, basically. Those big guys or whatever. I always wonder if they're just not. They can't last long enough. I always like those.
I love that guy's shirt. One big SOB.
Yeah. So there's some interesting storylines here. I feel like that they've set up. I've got into it more in the last couple of years, obviously with Xavier liking it a little bit, and obviously I know the wrestlers, but to kind of follow the storylines a little bit more has been kind of fun with Raw. I know there were this week they're in Kansas City, so we'll see what happens there this week with it. But there's a lot of different angles they can push here for entertainment. Like it's not just the heavyweight champ; they got other things here with it too. So. Jimmy, have you ever been to the WrestleMania, or is that just Nico? Or didn't you go?
I've not been to WrestleMania or any of the pay-per-views, but we've been to one of just the house shows at Ball Arena.
Yeah.
And we also went to a Monday Night Raw. We were at the Monday Night Raw where Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns had their match to see who got it was like their match to see if they could wrestle each other at Fastlane. And there was a giant spear on Big Show that I'm remembering. It was like it was actually pretty pivotal Monday Night Raw that we went to, but I have not been to WrestleMania. That is just my very, very lucky co-host.
Yeah, he went to the one. A lot of people were. I would say last year's WrestleMania ending, just because it was such a different circumstance with The Rock, and The Rock is obviously polarizing. So like he wasn't in the storyline this year like he was last year. But like maybe the main events were totally different this year. That's the way I would look at it, and the way that it was Rhodes getting the title for the first time. There's a lot of drama behind that. The Cena one this year, I didn't think it was bad, just different. So it'll be interesting what they do with Cena over this time. And I don't know, Case. Be interesting how they finish off his career, as he says, with the ticker. Now he's got the ticker. How many events he's got left?
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I mean, he's already got his the heavyweight champion belt customized. So he's on the left side. It says 17 time, and then the other side, I believe it's a little hard to read, but I think probably something along with the John Cena's logo or slogan. And then yeah, man. And then just to cap it off, man, I don't know if you guys watched SmackDown, but man, dude, that freaking what was it? I forget the Motor City and the Street Profits, and I forget the other ones, the newcomers. They just came in. Man, that was a badass match, dude. TLC match.
They should have put that one on WrestleMania instead of the War Raiders one.
Dude, that was so badass, dude. I was like, man, this is like a freak show. Like, I know everything's on Peacock, but dude, that was an epic. Like, I was like, damn, this shit's like, I would put it like number one, like TLC matches I've seen since like a Edge Matt Hardy type thing.
Yeah.
The ladder matches are always they're usually and then is Money in the Bank the next one? No, there's another one before that. Money in the Bank.
Backlash.
Backlash. That's the next one they have there with it. So it'll be interesting. The ladder matches are always those would be the ones where if you're like first row, second row, those would be the ones that it would be pretty entertaining to watch. You got people just flying off ladders, falling off ladders, climbing. That would be some intense stuff to watch more from there. So that'd be cool. So yeah, good WrestleMania there this week. We'll see where the storyline goes with it. I am curious where the Viper shows up, Johnson. So, and the weird pose he always has. I don't know what that it always throws me off whenever I see this. Like Jimmy said, a guy gained 70 pounds and he does like this kind of like little pose. So I don't know. We'll see where that ends up. Cody Rhodes, we'll see where he ends up with it. But all right, as we kind of get to the end here a little bit with it, we always like to do our tradition with it. Winners and losers of the week. Jimmy, if you do have any, feel free to add to the list. Johnson, you usually get us started here. Where do you want to go, winner or losers?
I'll do winner. Cleveland does have some bright side to look forward to. The Cleveland Cavs went up 3-0 on the Miami Heat, so they're the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. So you could get mad about how the Browns drafted, but you still got the Cavs in the playoffs. So
will they give Gabriel and Sanders first row seats together? Will they get the two quarterbacks get first row seats together with their pick on it?
And then my other winner of the week is these negative Nilly Warrior fans were panicking over Butler being out for one game, and sometimes you just have to have faith, and that was a big win for the Warriors. So the Warriors get my winner of the week as well.
Well, it was a pelvic injury, Brian. It had me worried all week. That Jimmy's pelvic. I was thinking about. We were worried about it. So you're right. Confidence meters up a little bit. We'll see how they do on Monday night. Case, what do you have for winner of the week?
Gonna be kind of a random one, but man, Ty Jerome. Guy's good, man. What happened with the Warriors?
Back to the Cavs.
I mean, he's so funny how careers turn out, man. Like he's just, I don't know. He's like a real deal player in the NBA now. I know he was on the championship team in college and just good pedigree there, but I don't know. I don't know. I think Doug got the little Cavs side on me, so I've always kind of had a little soft spot for him, especially after LeBron left. But yeah, no, just Ty Jerome. Shout out to him.
Actually, he was getting ripped a lot on the Warriors. We know that when he was there at it.
Weird.
Jimmy, you got a winner of the week?
Winner is Gabriel Landeskog.
Yeah.
He's back. He's with his guys. He got them back right in game 4. Can't tell me that he didn't have some sort of influence on the way that the Colorado Avalanche came out as a team. And then he goes out and scores for the first time in 3 years. It was beautiful. I've never been closer to crying over one goal scored in a hockey game. And I think I turned to my brother and I said, he should just be all-time captain. We should never let him off the roster. Even when he can't play, I'll push him out I'll push his wheelchair for him if we keep him on the ice with the C on his sweater.
Man, and that's got to be pretty emotional for a guy like him to be. You're putting in all the work, and then you're going that long without playing. So yeah, that's a true testament of work ethic and not giving up and gritting and grinding basically your way through it and for a chance to play, and then in a playoff game to deliver like that. Like you said, that series is 2-2 now. When they get to best of 3 situations, that's hockey. There's always a lot of game 7, so that's going to be fun to see how you guys do. Winner of the week. With that, that's a good call. My winner of the week, I got a couple. Is usually Eugenio Suarez, Brian. 4 homers yesterday, but the D-backs lose. They lose, and they have a guy hit 4 home runs. That's tough to do. Only the 4th time that's happened. Only the 19th time in Major League Baseball guys hit 4 home runs in a game. So it doesn't happen very often. So he goes deep. Green Bay winner for host. They get to host the NFL draft. They don't get much. So other than playoff, they get the playoff football, but they got to hold that. Brandon Crawford, local guy out here, was obviously shortstop for the Giants. They celebrated him yesterday with that as well. Brian, I ran a half marathon about 5 years ago. I ran it at 1 hour, 46 minutes and about 15. It was about a 7-minute, 30-second pace. Pretty solid, right? Guy yesterday runs the marathon at a record 2 hours, 15 minutes. A marathon, 26 miles. Are you insane? Are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind? I can't even imagine running a marathon. 2 hours. That's why I was like, that's like 30 minutes past my time and a half marathon. That's insane to think that somebody ran a marathon.
The first person to run the distance of a marathon from Marathon to Athens died when he got there. He didn't do it in 2 hours, but he died when he got there.
We got people doing it. 26 miles in 2 hours. That just blows my mind to think about how fast you what do you weigh? Like 30 pounds running that thing? My goodness. So I can't even comprehend that. 2 hours and 15 minutes.
It's like, hey, you want to catch a movie in a few hours? Yeah, I just got to run this marathon and I'll be there.
I'll be right there.
Marathon starts at 9. Make sure the movie doesn't start till about 11:30.
Exactly. We'll be done. We would have been able to catch the whole Warriors game yesterday with that. All right, my last one, Steve Mungo Michaels. He died this week from ALS with the Bear. He was a Bears defensive lineman. He fought that pretty hard, and that's a tough disease. But I shouted this video out for when I did the 7th inning show, but it always cracks me up. Everybody remembers Angel Hernandez. He's the bad umpire in baseball that everybody hates with a passion. And one 7th inning stretch, Angel was having a tough game. And Mr. Steve was, as you know, with the Cubs, they bring somebody in to sing 7th inning stretch. And this is what Mr. McMichael had to say to Mr. Angel.
Don't worry, I'll have some speaks with that home plate umpire after the game. Ooh, I won. I
I love that. I just love Angel Hernandez like a teacher. How dare you?
Steve, will you sit back down in your chair? Why are you up, Steve? Who gave you the microphone? Sit down.
Jimmy's like with the beer in his left hand too. He's like, I'm gonna have I don't think Angel's winning. I don't think Angel's winning that fight. Don't think Angel's winning that. No. I just thought it was great. He's like the worst umpire everybody ever thought forever. And you got some defensive lineman that just had a few beers too many. He's like, oh, I'm gonna have a word with that umpire. So I know tough week for his family and stuff like that. But that video always cracks me up the balls just to get up there and say that.
That's part of WCW lifestyle he lived too.
Yeah, it was. And look, a little liquid courage never hurts with little stuff like that too. So that probably was along the way. All right, let's finish it up. Johnson, loser of the week. What do you got?
Jeffrey Springs from the A's. It's time to put him down to the 5th starter because he blows the big one, and he should not be the number 2 starter in the rotation. Sears should be. So
blows the big one. I like it. That's a good. Let's put that on a t-shirt. I like that statement.
And then Memphis getting swept out by OKC.
Up 26. Johnson.
It's like Homer Simpson said. Better luck next time.
Better luck next year. We're going. What does Kenny Smith say?
The Grizzlies just have to reload, revamp, supply their arsenal. Buy some more ammunition.
Cheap shot. We got to give different celebration for next year. Case, what do you got for loser of the week?
I'm gonna throw myself into this. I didn't know that they did these, and I was like watching. I was like almost sent it to you guys to share, and I was like, this can't be right. It's like have you seen the AI interviews with like after the post game with like Kawhi Leonard? And so the John Morant's talking. He's like, "Yeah, Shea Dildo Gilgeous." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What am I hearing?" He's like, "I should have been like the real MVP," and I'm like, "This cannot be real." Like, and then I found another one. I was like, Kawhi Leonard said something about some robot balls, and I'm like, "What?" And so I got to say myself because I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "This is real." So it took me about 2 clips to figure it out. So,
it's funny. I started seeing those Jimmy around like football time and the post games and stuff like that. Like Patrick Mahomes or something like with him, like the refs are a piece of beep 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 or like like that. I was like, oh, that's no way. That at first I did believe one at first, and then I stopped. But that's a good one. Those are I have saw those. The ones I saw a lot was with the Cowboys. Like that was the one, like the Cowboys with Dak Prescott, when there was a few of them. So those are pretty funny. Jimmy, you seen those? Probably.
Yeah, those are.
Like somebody played on those. Jimmy, you got a loser of the week?
My loser is going, since I was brought on to talk hockey, Toronto Maple Leafs. They were up 3-0. It has now been 25 years since they've swept a playoff series because they couldn't take care of Ottawa in regulation. They couldn't take care of Ottawa almost all the way through the first period of overtime, yet they let the Senators score and extend the series one more game. They're going back to Toronto. Battle of Ontario continues. This is just going to be very, very hilarious if somehow this series goes back to 7 games, because that's just the Toronto Maple Leaf MO. If it gets up 3-0, it's going 7.
They have a way. They have a way of always underperforming. The one that sticks out to me was it was a few years back now. It was Game 7 in Boston.
Yeah,
and they were and they blew that game at the end, and I remember that was kind of crushing because they were trying.
They have not won a championship since 1967. They are the equivalent of what the Dallas Cowboys are in the NHL because they're the biggest market. They have the most amount of money. That's where the Hockey Hall of Fame is based out of, is Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Yet they have the loudest fans. They talk the most shit, the most amount of money, and it's never been successful. 1967.
That's crazy.
That's getting up there a little bit, especially for a franchise like that. Like you said, this year they're the 1 seed.
They've been in the NHL for 112 years, however long the NHL's been around. They're an original team.
They are one of the original 6. Yeah, they haven't changed at all. Loser of the year, Sharks. Loser, they get first pick again this year, Jimmy. So hopefully they get
stacking first round picks.
That's what we want. We just got to keep building that up, right? Keep building.
I don't want the Shark Tank to be in the. I hated. I'm not. We weren't in the same division, so I didn't hate San Jose as much as I hate like Dallas, and I definitely hate Minnesota more than I hate them, even St. Louis. But I don't want the Sharks to be good again. You guys are way too difficult to play in that barn.
It'd be nice. I was a kid. I always, the Warriors sucked, and Brian and the Sharks, you always knew we're going to be there at least in the postseason. But now that is not been
Jumbo Thornton's one of my favorite guys.
Every time they got a goal, Darren would do sit-ups.
Playoff sit-ups. That's what we do. Every time we get a goal, playoff sit-ups.
I do playoff Pink Whitney shots for power play goals.
that would have been better. I could have done that better. That's good. My loser of the week. Does the draft have too much glitz? I mean, I don't know. There might be too much. We'll see. Is it a little too much dramatic, Brian? That was maybe a little loser of the week for me. We need a 3-day show for everything. I guess we do. I don't know. But that was kind of mine. Celtics.
And give Goodell the hard question. Stop making love with him.
Give him some tough ones. He's not sitting at his. Remember the COVID draft when he was sitting at his chair at the desk there?
Anybody else find it creepy that he has to hug every prospect that gets drafted? Like he has to hug them.
I know. Like I mean, you don't like these guys. Come on now. you don't
I'm gonna
like
find the shit out of you so hard.
You're fined $100. You will be fined if you don't give me a hug. That is the deal. If I don't get a hug, it's $1,000 hug right there.
Both arms. If you only give me a side hug, that's 10 grand right there.
And I want you to pick me up too. He's like, pick me up.
Yeah, now it's starting to get creepy.
Now we get creepy around there.
Pick me up, change my diaper, call me Papa Roger.
I saw this year they had the draft where the guys would pick up the hat and they had the mirror in front of them and they were like doing that thing with it. So I saw the little selfie. It was like when my kids had a cross country race at this thing and like at the park here in Windsor. And like I had never seen this before. I hadn't been to this park in a couple of years, but there's like a lake there at it, and then there's like a dock you can kind of walk out, and it had a little sign that said selfie station. I was like, wow, we know this was not a been here 10 years ago, but that's what it said, selfie station. So that's what that reminded me of when I saw the glitz. Like everything's about getting our own selfies on there. Celtics, you won the championship. You shut up right now. I don't want to hear you complaining about the Magic holding you too much or anything like that. And you're not going to be punked. Or it's the Orlando Magic. Step up. I don't know. So I don't want to hear anything from them on that. And should have been it's a loser for the other teams. I don't know why. When the Steelers drafted that Jake Sawyer guy from Ohio State in the 4th round, I was like, I don't know. I was like, why can't I just why the 4th round and why not the Raiders? Like I get frustrated whenever the Steelers draft these guys that are good and like they're they're going to be solid on their team. So that one kind of frustrates me with whenever there's guys like that drop and my team doesn't pick them up. And then so that's my losers of the week with that. The Yankees, Devin Williams, my God, you're pathetic with it. Jimmy, thanks for joining us this morning. Far end of the bench, you guys have been on fire here for a while. I love the shorts you've been doing with it. The way you kind of been orchestrating your guys' podcast. You guys are almost up to 800 subscribers now, so you guys have really kind of boomed off here a little bit. I know you're a teacher as well in that field, so you're getting down to the end of the school year here
19 days,
as well. Who's counting? 19. I got 28. Dang it. I got a little bit more than you, so we got to finish.
I think we started a week before you.
You probably did. So we got to finish strong here, Jimmy. We're at that part of the school year here, but I know we did talking the gridiron there for a long time. I mean, we'll probably still do some stuff together here throughout the year, but really appreciate you coming on. Where can we all kind of find you guys at? What are you guys up to here?
Yeah, no, appreciate you guys having me. Follow at FEOTV Pod. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. We had a nice little bump up in the last couple of weeks, like you were saying, so we appreciate it. Just keep tuning in. We'll have more playoff reaction videos. We'll do our next one for the Avalanche Game 5 Monday night in Dallas, and then we're not going to be talking about the Nuggets Game 5 until our episode that will drop on Wednesday. So we'll be back. We do our normal episodes Wednesdays where we're talking about all the playoffs, everything that's sports. When it's the post-game shows, it's just the game that happens, what we expect to happen in the next game, and then we're trying to get you in and out of there. But we love the fact that we have the ability to do playoff reactions. I started it when the Bengals made their Super Bowl run, and we've continued it. We've won a Stanley Cup with the playoff reaction shows. We've won an NBA title with the playoff reaction shows, and I'm hoping to add hopefully one, possibly – OKC looks like a little bit of a boogeyman, but maybe 2, and I'm knocking on all the wood that I can. But I appreciate you guys joining, and yeah, we've been doing this. We've been friends for a long time. I think I put it in our description when you came on, Darren. Like You're one of our oldest friends in the podcast game, so I appreciate you having me. Let me join.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of respect for you guys, and you guys are entertaining to listen to, and I feel like we kind of have kind of feel the same way about a lot of things. So different, but the same. So I always kind of appreciate our different takes with some stuff along the way. And we kind of like different things a little bit more. So it kind of adds to a good show with it. So appreciate you kind of jumping on, talking some NHL with us, getting me and Casey and Brian up to speed a little bit on that. NFL draft stuff was fun as well. But best of luck. You guys keep up the good work. Finish the school year well. Brian, the main man Johnson, feel better down there, my man. Thanks for joining us Sunday morning here with it. A's, come on, beat the White Sox today, right, Brian? We got to get that done. Casey, WrestleMania or Wrestle Raw tomorrow. I'll be talking to you about that. Jimmy, Avalanche, let's get the W on Monday. My Warriors, the W. Confidence level, Brian, 8. We'll see you guys next week with it.